Spamming out the switch, we go into Alolan Marowak. Zyonik tells me this thing is the GOAT. We're about to find out. We call the bait, and in the back it is Drapion. Not the best matchup, but Marowak is up shields. We are going to shield up the crunch we throw. One fire spin and the bone club. Let's see if Drapion wants to shield. They do not. One more fire spin and the bone club. Can Marowak prove its worth and sweep this team? Down goes Drapion, back out comes Scizor, and we are once again gonna call the bait. So, welcome back to home of Shadow Pokemon. Today, we are going to find out if Zyonik is right and if Shadow Alolan Marowak is the GOAT. So, this is a team that I did not come up with. Huge shout out to one of the channel's biggest supporters, Ricky Alvarado. He posted on one of my community tabs saying that he used this team and went 9-1. I had two Pokemon built. I had the Drapion, obviously channel favourite, and Scizor. I do actually have a Marowak, but that's on Hex. So I built another one, and I thought, fuck it, let's put this team to the test. And without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game one, we see Sableye in the lead. Not a bad matchup for Scizor. We look to throw on a CMP tie. The opponent, far too smart for that. They do not throw. You can see Bullet Punch really chunking, but Scizor made of absolute paper. Shadow Claw is absolutely tearing for us. Both players have the same idea, and we simultaneously swap into the Drapion mirror. It's Shadow versus regular. They fire off the crunch, get the debuff. You hate to see it. We fire off the crunch and get the debuff. That one you love to see. We fire off the next crunch. It looks like a loose CMP. Second crunch does not take us out. We fire off a crunch of our own. The opponent also no shields. We get another debuff. The opponent will win CMP. It looks like they were going for the Poison Sting farm down. They don't get it. We take them out. I'm spamming out Scizor. I know they're going to have Skunk Tank in the back, so I try and 5-head with the X-Scissor. The opponent shields it up anyway, and they throw their energy. You already know it's time for the GOAT to do GOAT things. Well, it's not Shadow Swampert, but we're going to say for this video that Marowak is the GOAT. And in the back, there is Mr. Skunk Tank. Oh, hello, Skunk Tank. Skunk Tank can obviously one-shot us with a crunch. However, the poison jabs are double resisted. Fire spin, really chunking. We overfarm just a touch. I'm going to undercharge this bone club leave with the shadow bone. And it's going to be high Sableye, bye Sableye, GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle, we see Escavalier in the lead. Holy crap, this team looks pretty weak to Escav. Obviously Marowak has a good matchup, Drapion and Scizor do not, so I am going to stay and we fire off the Night Slash. Get a shield, the opponent fires off their energy. We are going to allow Scizor to go down, and it's time to come in, see if we can sneak a few fire spins. The opponent quickly switches out into Frostlass. Holy crap, that surely is not your best Alolan Marowak answer. We are going to shield up a potential Shadow Ball. The opponent goes for the Avalanche. You hate to see it. So likewise, I am going to throw a Bone Club. Let's see if the opponent wants to give up their final shield. Yes, they do. So shields are about to be down. We are going to shield up the Shadow Ball, commit to the Fire Spin farm down, and Shadow Alolan Marowak is absolutely loaded. What does the opponent have for me in the back? And it is a Drapion, so we're going to throw one Fire Spin and the Bone Club. Bone Club does some nice super effective damage. We now simultaneously swap back out into our Drapion. They bring back out the Escavalier. We outpace to the crunch. High Escavalier, by Escavalier, and the opponent concedes the match. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next one. We see the Jellyfish in the lead. The water typing does resist Bullet Punch, but the Night Slash would hit for super effective. The opponent, far too smart for me. They catch the Night Slash on the Zweilous. However, we do resist Dragon Breath. We stay in for a few more Bullet Punch, and the X's of the opponent commits the shield. We are going to shield in return, so I know I can get off one more X's. Let's see if the opponent wants to double shield. X's will knock out from this range. The opponent lets it go, and now we have the absolute perfect alignment that we want, as we can now put our Drapion on that Jellyfish. They come in with the Jellyfish looking for the farm down. The super glassy Scizor still not done, lands the Night Slash, gets the Jellicent deep into the yellow, and at this stage now we are in a sweet spot. They fire off their Bubble Beam. They can fire off another Bubble Beam, but the opponent actually goes for the hard-hitting Shadow Ball. Drapion laughs at that, and in the back, it is Dragalge. Not the best matchup for Marowak. However, if we can get shields down, we will be in a pretty good spot. First Bone Club goes unshielded. The opponent farms up to the back-to-back, but I am just going to shield this up. Look to get off my Bone Club. Let's see if we can get that final shield off the opponent. We do. The opponent now fires off the charge move, and Drapion is about to close in style. We're going to come in, throw one Poison Sting and the crunch. That's going to take care of Dragalge. The opponent is going to need to Shadow Ball to take us out. They have no energy and Drapion is going to close. GG's and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next one. We see the Scizor Mirror. Actually, not only the Scizor Mirror, this opponent is also running the Shadow. You love to see it. We count to 5, catch the Night Slash on our Drapion. The opponent is staying in. They actually look to make a catch of their own. Catching a crunch on the Mandibuzz. Great play from the opponent there on Air Slash. So we're looking to time our charge move correctly. We get off the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb lands for big damage. The opponent isn't going to be able to Air Slash us down. The opponent throws at good timing. Aerial Ace is going to be more than enough to take care of our Drapion. We are now going to wait out our timer. Come in with Scizor, we throw one Bullet Punch and the X-Scissor. X-Scissor should KO from this range. It actually doesn't, but we still manage to get the farm down before they make another move. They now come in to their own Scizor. They fire off the Night Slash on a CMP tie. You can see my IVs are immaculate. We aren't going to win many mirror matches, but we probably aren't going to see many. And in the back, they have the absolute meta monster, Toxapex. This is kind of neutral. We do resist the poison, they resist the fire type damage. However, their bulk is far superior to mine. We landed the Shadow Bone. We don't get a debuff. We are just going to start spamming out Bone Club. After Bone Club, the opponent does need to start shielding up something. Once again, we are going to have to commit a shield here. You can see the resisted poison jabs have got us down to around 50% HP. We're going to fire off one more Bone Club. This draws the final shield from the opponent. I fire off one more Bone Club. I really need this to knock out as they're just about to reach the charge move. You can see far too bulky. But to be honest, considering they're the meta top dog, it wasn't a bad performance in the 2 shields. Moving on to the next one. We see Frostlass in the lead. The opponent immediately switches out into Drapion. I'm going to farm up a boatload of energy. I'm going to get this into a range where I know my own Drapion is going to be able to handle this. We get him into the yellow. Now dip out into our own Drapion, banking that boatload of energy on Scizor. If you're going to use Pokemon like Scizor, it's really nice to have a charge move bank because it doesn't really lose CMP to anything you're going to see in this meta. The opponent fires off a crunch. We're going to fire off a crunch of our own. It gets them super low. We managed to Poison Sting all the way down. Back out comes Frostlass. Are they going to respect the crunch? They do not. They get near one shot. The opponent realizes they're about to get farmed down. And in the back, it is Skunk Tank. Hi, Skunk Tank. We're just going to come back in with the Scizor. We are just going to spam out a Night Slash fishing for the boost. We don't get it. So we're going to fire the neutral X-Scissor this time. In case the opponent chooses to no shield, they do shield it up. We're going to fire off one more X-Scissor on the CMP tie. This is going to hit for decent neutral damage. They're now super low. We're going to hang on to our final shield. Flamethrower takes us out. We can now come in to Marowak. We are going to look to fire off the Bone Club just to get rid of this skunk. And one Fire Spin should be enough to take care of Frostlass. GG's and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle, we see Toxicroak in the lead. Another Pokemon. We are ABA week 2. So we are just going to spam out the Night Slash fishing for the boost. The opponent, to my surprise, does actually shield. And they actually make a huge mistake firing off on a CMP tie to the next Night Slash. We get them super low. Scizor is going to go down. We are going to have to tank a charge move on either Pokemon, so I'm going to come in with Drapion because we are going to be able to get a bit more farm. We are going to shield up the Mud Bomb, commit to the Poison Sting farm down, and they now come in to Ariados. Holy crap, not the Pokemon I was expecting to see. And another Pokemon, they're running double Spider. We are going to spam out a Bone Club against this Galvantula. The opponent doesn't shield. The hardest hitting move left in the game is a potential discharge. They go for the lunge, but I don't think that is going to save this opponent. They come back in to the Ariados. They fire off the Mega Horn. Mega Horn hits super hard, but that is resisted. Marowak is going to return fire with the Shadow Bone. Shadow Bone draws the final shield from the opponent. I imagine this next Mega Horn still won't care, so I'm going to bank that Bone Club, switch out into Drapion. We fire one Poison Sting, and the crunch is crunch enough to knock out. Yes, it is. GG's, and thanks for playing. Shout out to that opponent, running a really cool double Spider team. Moving on into the next one, we see another Jellyfish in the lead. I fire off a Night Slash on the 7th Bullet Punch, drawing a shield from the opponent. They get far too greedy. We fire off the next Night Slash on a CMP tie. The opponent is going to have to fire off the Shadow Ball to take us out. And as always, the opponent loves to bait, you will notice if using Glassy Shadow Pokemon, opponents love to throw baits, and I absolutely love to call it. The opponent switches out into Scrafty, we bank that Night Slash. For the end game, like I said previously, Scizor isn't losing CMP to too much. We tank the first foul play, we are going to have to shield up the second. I was hoping the opponent went for another bait, but smartly this time, they went for the foul play. We are now going to fire off a Bone Club. Bone Club doesn't knock out. We managed to retain switch advantage. We are now super low. The opponent only gets one Hex Farm. We are now going to realign our Pokemon. We come in to Drapion. It is Wigglytuff. In the back, you can see not the most oppressive of Charmers. No baits. On this channel, we go straight for the Sludge Bomb. Wigglytuff gets absolutely nuked to its Pokeball. We are going to shield up the Bubble Beam. We have the move bank on Scizor, so the only thing we've got to do here is get the final shield. The opponent gives it up. We can now allow ourselves to go down. We're on 1 HP and a dream, so I'm not going to try anything fancy. We can allow ourselves to go down, come in with Scizor, fire the Night Slash, and that's going to be all she wrote. GG's and thanks for playing. The reason I didn't combo play, if I would have transferred the Hex, I would have went down, so it was much safer just to allow myself to go down, come in and win the game. Moving on to the next one. We see Obstagoon in the lead, absolutely terrible for pretty much the entire team. So we are going to stay in with Scizor. We fire off the X's. The opponent actually calls it and they catch the next X's. So let's see what they've caught it on. They catch it on a Nidoqueen. To be honest, I'm more than happy to stay in this matchup. The opponent looking to Poison Jab farm us all the way down. So we fire off the Night Slash. That gets Nidoqueen super low. They shit their pants. They don't go for the farm down. Poison Fang takes us out. Nidoqueen triple resist poison, so we are going to come in with Marowak and look to fire spin down. This is only a Poison Fang. Marowak tanks that. Absolutely no problem. Obstagoon has a charge move bank, but I am not going to shield it up. Even debuff Marowak can tank a Night Slash. We're going to throw a couple of fire spins and the Bone Club. Bone Club will not knock out from this range, but we'll get Obstagoon super low. They now switch out into Granbull, and I'm looking absolutely fucked. Unlike Wigglytuff, you can see Shadow Granbull super oppressive. We fire off the Crunch. The opponent shields it up. I'm just going to get charmed all the way down, and that's going to be a good game. Moving on to the next one. We see the absolute nightmare lead. Salazzle hits us for double super effective. I shit my pants, switch out into Drapion. We fire off the Crunch, get a shield. The opponent banks all of that energy and now switch out into Umbreon. This usually is a pretty neutral matchup, but Salazzle super attack rate of the Incinerates have got us into range. We're probably not going to be able to flip switch. The opponent fires off the last resort. I'm going to fire off as many Sludge Bombs as humanly possible. I really would love switch advantage, but it really doesn't look like we are going to make it. The opponent is going to fire off a charge move before we get to the next Sludge Bomb. Foul play takes us out. We come in to Scizor. We look to commit to the Bullet Punch farm down, but the opponent has some residual energy. We tank that charge move on the chin. And we're now spamming out Marowak. Zyonik says this Pokemon is the GOAT. Let's find out if it really is. The opponent has a boatload of energy. They could have thrown the Dragon Pulse, my huge cojones. Call the Poison Fang, and in the back it is Drapion. Usually not the best matchup, but we are up shield, so we shield the Crunch, throw one Fire Spin, and the Bone Club. It goes unshielded. We fire off one more Fire Spin, and the next Bone Club. Let's see what the opponent wants to do. They let Drapion go down. Marowak looking pretty decent. They fire off one more charge move. We're already single debuff. Fuck it. I dare the opponent to Dragon Pulse me. They did not. Marowak laughs at that Poison Fang. We fire off one more Bone Club. That draws the final shield from the opponent. Marowak still not done. Makes the final Bone Club to take this game. Zyonik, I admit it. Marowak pretty fucking good. Moving on to the next one, we see another Sableye in the lead. We once again look to CMP tie the opponent on the Night Slash. Night Slash draws a shield. The opponent once again not throwing on the CMP. We are going to shield up the foul play, and as always I'm going to look to catch the next one on my Drapion. The opponent actually switches out though into Toxapex, so either way we bring Drapion in. Drapion has a decent matchup here, but Toxapex so bulky. We fire off the Crunch, get the debuff, so we're going to fire off Crunch number 2, but even debuffed is not going to do anywhere enough damage to knock out, so the opponent doesn't shield. Likewise, we aren't going to shield Toxapex because it's bulky, hits like an absolute wet noodle. I know I am going to be able to survive one more brine. I thought I'd make the crunch. I did not. Rip to me. We come in to Scizor. I was going to bullet punch, farm him down. We're running out of HP, so I double up on moves. One Night Slash takes him out. We're going to fire one more bullet punch and the Night Slash, and what should be a CMP tie to the foul play. The opponent lets it go. We spam up Marowak, and it is Nidoqueen in the back. We do need to correctly shield up the Earth Power. I am going to shield it up, hoping I don't get baited. The opponent goes straight for the Hail Mary, and we are sitting in a pretty sweet spot. Fire Spin's done around 50% of the HP. They shield up the Bone Club. We get a whole boatload of lag. The second Bone Club should be enough to knock out, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next one, we see Wormadam Trash in the lead. All three of our Pokemon have a decent matchup here, so I throw one Bullet Punch, transfer the confusion onto Drapion, and we now enter the Drapion Mirror. Once again, it is Shadow versus Regular. Who will prevail? Let's find out. We fire off a Crunch. The opponent doesn't shield, so we're going to fire off another Crunch. Let's see if the opponent is on Aqua Tail. Second Crunch goes unshielded. I have no intentions of shielding up either. The opponent fires off one more Crunch. That doesn't knock out. We make the last Crunch. Does the opponent want to commit a shield here? Yes, they do. We get the defense drop. Neither of our Pokemon particularly want to take a move from Drapion, so I am going to have to shield this up. We will commit to the Bullet Punch farm down. We don't quite have a move bank. We're going to switch out into Marowak, and in the back it is a Azumarill. Not really what you want to see. The Mighty Blue Mouse, I really thought we wouldn't see all that much, but opponents love their basic bitch thick mon. Unless the opponent's on Hydro Pump, we don't have to worry about the charge moves. It's just a play rough. We survive. We fire off one more Shadow Bone. That gets the defense drop. Can we make the Bone Club? We cannot. Absolutely heartbreaking. We now come in to Scizor. We aren't going to shield this up. Play rough. Does a decent chunk of damage. It is now Scizor versus Wormadam. We fire off one Bullet Punch and the Night Slash, fishing for the boost. We don't get it. We now fire off 5 Bullet Punches and the Night Slash. Is this going to draw the final shield from the opponent? It is not. Mr. Opponent, what are you doing? We managed to Bullet Punch down and take that game. Moving on to the next one. We see another Trash Wormadam in the lead. So immediately, once again, we switch out into Drapion. And this time we are met with Toxicroak. So not fantastic. We land the Crunch. That does a decent chunk of resisted damage. The opponent takes us out with a Mud Bomb. We can come back in with Scizor. By the time we've got to the Night Slash will be enough to knock this thing out. Let's see if Toxicroak wants to shield. They do not. Back out comes Wormadam. I am going to spam out a Night Slash before dipping. Night Slash doesn't draw a shield, but does do some decent chip damage. And then once again, the opponent has Drapion in the back. As they aren't a Shadow, I'm not going to shield the first move. And to my surprise, they're actually running Aqua Tail. Interesting. We'll go with interesting. So if I'm going to start spamming out Bone Club after Bone Club, we are going to have to start shielding up at this stage. We shield the next Aqua Tail, throw one more Fire Spin, and the Bone Club. Does the opponent want to commit their final shield? Yes, they do. I'm hoping my switch timer does pop up. We are going to commit our final shield as well. Switch timer has popped up. The opponent doesn't bank a charge move. That is going to be a huge problem for them. And they come in, take out my Scizor. We can Fire Spin all the way down. We leave with a Bone Club. I'm not even sure who wins CMP, but if you're the opponent, at least bank the charge move before dipping out. But Marowak closes the game. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next one, we see Dragalge in the lead. We do resist Dragon Tail, although it doesn't really look like it, because Scizor, made of paper, just takes a lot of damage from absolutely anything. We shield up the Aqua Tail, we fire one more Bullet Punch and the Night Slash, and hello, it is Booster Clock. So we're going to fire off Night Slash number 2. The opponent has double shielded. They switch out into Drapion, Bullet Punch, tearing through him, and once again we enter the Drapion Mirror. As always, it is Shadow versus Regular. I believe the Regular probably is a bit better in this meta. The extra bulk is nice, and even the Shadow can't one-shot stuff like Froslass, so probably Regular is the way to go. But this is the home of Shadow Pokemon, so we are relying on our Shadow. The opponent is now super low. We fire off one more Crunch. This should take care of Drapion, which it does. They are unshielded. What does the opponent have in the back? We don't know yet, because they come back in to the Dragalge, take us out with an Aqua Tail. I come back in to Scizor, I throw 2 Bullet Punches so I don't have to take the second Dragon Tail worth of damage. Night Slash takes him out, and in the back it is Skunk Tank. We're going to fire off an X Scissor before dipping into Marowak, and this game is absolutely over. This is a regular, so just for no apparent reason, I'm going to flex the fact that Shadow can tank it. They get the defense drop, but we aren't in danger of getting poison jab. Farm down, we fire off the Bone Club and take that game. So those were the battles with Ricky Alvarado's team. I can say it was really fun and really good. So if you're looking for a fun triple shadow team, give this one a try. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing, and I'll see you all in the next one.